Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and this is No Man's Sky. It's been a long wait, but it's finally here, and I've got to admit it's a pleasure to have the game in my hands and explore its rather wonderful worlds, and yes, the worlds really are that good. I've been playing for a few hours now, and managed to get my ship up and running, travelling off into the depths of space here, and visiting a few other worlds. But before we get to all of that, let's backtrack and see what the game is all about. When you start on your beginning planet here, you'll find your ship crashed in a state of disrepair, and your first task is to repair it using the resources you can find from the local environment. And as it turns out, this initial task is relatively simple. Fortunately for me, I didn't find this planet here to be too hostile, although there are some sentry drones here and they don't take too kindly to you messing up their planet, so as long as you don't do that in their sight, or at least don't do too much of it, they will leave you alone. Your crash site is strewn around with various commodities here, and you can loot these crates and find a few things, including some technological upgrades. None of this though is going to be of immediate use, but it's certainly worth keeping a hold of, because later on you will be able to sell it for quite a substantial amount of credits. Now, there is one bit of a problem that you hit quite early on, and that is inventory management, but we'll get to that in a little while. I'm sure most of you will have seen plenty of videos of this game by now, or a few streams, or if not, you will certainly have heard about how things work. But essentially, the resources are dotted around the various planets, and you need to collect these. In this case, I'm collecting plutonium and aluminium. As you wander around the landscape, you will come across various caves, and quite often the caves have more of the rarer or unique resources in them, so they're well worth heading into, although they can be a little bit dangerous because sometimes they do have some hostile creatures in. Now you can see there that my life support is now down to 25%, and that's essentially my spacesuit, the suit that allows me to stay in these somewhat unpleasant environments. And it does wear down, it does degrade over time. You can recharge it with the resources you gather, and fortunately you can use carbon to do that, which on this planet at least is one of the most common resources. Now, one of the reasons I've been so attracted to No Man's Sky right from the start is due to the sheer sense of exploration here. I think in many ways this is unrivaled by any other game out there at the moment. There's moments like that one there where the game just feels so alive. And although it's difficult to talk about No Man's Sky without also talking about the high level of player expectation for the game that's out there at the moment, which many are feeling it might lead to disappointment for a few, I feel personally that if you come into this game looking for a world where you can truly explore, where you can just spend hours upon hours roaming around, flying, and just searching them for various wonderful planets, then you're not going to be disappointed at all. Now here you can see those drones that I was saying earlier do sometimes get a little bit annoyed when you start harvesting the resources on the planet, and they will attack you. Now they do have effectively a timer on them, and they will call for reinforcements if you can't destroy them quick enough. You can see there he's trying to broadcast a little signal, but fortunately I managed to destroy both of them before that happened, and you can harvest the resources from them once you've destroyed them. But this really is where one of the game's very early problems comes into effect, and you really do start noticing it, and that is inventory management. Just right here though, I am scanning one of the creatures, and you can see I'm the first to discover it, and of course I'm the first human on this planet, so anything here I'm going to be the first to discover. But as for inventory management, you've got your own inventory in your suit, and you've also got another inventory in your ship. Both of them are extremely limited, they only have a very few slots in them, and although at the moment I have absolutely no idea whether the capacity for either inventory can be upgraded, it does seem to be rather limited. So I've noticed this when I come to these crates. Dotted around the landscape are various crates and debris that you can actually loot from. But in this case I couldn't loot from them because I didn't have any space left in my suit, and although you can transport commodities remotely from your suit to your ship, when they're both full then you're a little bit knackered. And what this meant is that I had to destroy the least wanted resources here so that I could take some of the stuff I thought would be a bit more useful. And I have a feeling that is going to be quite a problem a little bit further into the game, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Eventually anyway, I did manage to get my ship fully repaired. Flying around is one of the things I've most been looking forward to with No Man's Sky, and unfortunately most of the footage you actually see has been down on planets, and I was curious what the flight mechanics would actually be like. Turns out, as most people predicted, they're very arcadey, but that's not a negative thing. Of course, if you're into flight sims or space sims, then you're going to first notice these simplistic controls right off the bat, but I've got to admit, they actually work very, very nice, and the head look in here is among the best I've actually seen in any game. Very, very smooth, very, very precise control on it. You don't really have 6 degrees of freedom on the control system. The left stick basically gives you yaw and pitch, whilst the right stick controls head look. You can then use the shoulder buttons to roll. However, from what I could tell, there's no vertical or lateral thrusters. Flying over the landscapes is actually a real pleasure, and it's something I can see myself spending a lot of time doing. And although the draw distance is actually quite low, it's not really a problem due to the graphical style of the game. After a while then, flying around the planetary surface, I finally decided to head on up out of the atmosphere into orbit towards space. So there's a variety of different speeds you've got. You've got the regular ship's thrusters, which you can see are moving at 150 units, whatever their units are, and you can hold down the circle button to give your ship a boost. And you can see there, I'm just above the planetary atmosphere now, and I'll turn left in a moment and you'll see the planet that I've just come from. There's also the hyperdrive, or whatever it's called, which gives you a significant boost in speed, allowing you to get to the space stations and the planets with relative ease. And there you can see below me the planet that I come from. And whilst the detail down there may not be tremendous from all the way up here, it's nonetheless a very, very pleasurable, very, very significant step in terms of gaming that you can so seamlessly leave the surface of the planet and get up here into space. And I've got to admit, even coming from a background of flight sims and space sims, the speed at which you can get from the surface of the planet into your ship and up here into space is very impressive indeed, and it in no way detracts from the game. In fact, it adds to it immensely. Now, I've only been playing the game a few hours at this point, around about 2 to 2.5 hours I believe, so I haven't had much experience up here in space, but from what I've seen of other people playing the game on YouTube and on Twitch, it seems very much that players are using their ship simply to get from A to B. Personally though, I want to try and stay up here in space as much as I can and see just how much space-based content there actually is out here. Now, it does seem that there's a heck of a lot to do, so it's going to take a while to get to grips with the game. I haven't been researching it too much before I had played, so I wanted to jump in with a fresh perspective. With that in mind, it's going to take me a while to figure out exactly where I've got to go and precisely what I need to do. But my initial impressions of this game are that it is exactly what I was expecting it to be. A fun, massive open world where you can explore to your heart's content. A universe full of different planets and different environments, whilst although they may have certain similarities, will no doubt still keep you occupied and interested for a long time to come if you approach with an exploration-based perspective. If you're coming at the game from another perspective though, such as the ability to progress through the equipment chains, then I'm not sure just yet how much there is for you. And in regards to that, it's going to be one of those things that only time will tell. Here then is my first space station, and I did decide to dock here. I wanted to go and check out what was going on inside there. The approach to the space station is very, very nice, very, very smooth and completely seamless, and coming in here to dock is just as nice. The only thing I weren't as keen on is that when you get to a certain point here, you can see that the station takes over control of your ship and docking is fully automated. Here you can trade with other NPC ships as well as the residents of the station. And then of course you can head on out and have a look at the other planets as well as travel through the rest of the galaxy. And that's something I'm going to be spending a lot of time doing over the coming weeks and the coming months. So do keep an eye out for a regular series of videos on this game. I'm also going to be playing No Man's Sky on PC, and I should be able to bring a video for you on that on Friday. As you can imagine, I've barely scratched the surface of what this game has to offer, so there's plenty to look forward to. For now though, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.